Hello, my name is Haley Perrin, and I will be doing my presentation for this final project for English 102 over reproductive health in the U.S. So, the causes and effects of reproductive health issues, just in general, there are several things to be talked about with the things that burden patients when they're going through these procedures. Several of the causes of the stresses that patients endure throughout this troubling time in their life is the financial burden, the lack of insurance coverage, the pricing of the procedures, and mental and physical health. So, to start off talking about the financial burden, there are so many things that contribute to this more than just the price of the procedure, which is also a major playing factor in the general stresses of reproductive health and artificial reproductive insemination tactics. So there is the travel to different clinics. There aren't very many located in the U.S. as compared to how large we are as a country. Several patients, if they're from more rural areas, could have to travel 4, 5, 6 hours, depending on where they live, just to be able to receive that care. And then you have to do that multiple times a month or a year, or multiple procedures if one does fail. My aunt, personally, the reason that this is such a close topic to my heart, she went through artificial insemination 3 times for her oldest son, and then later on for twin boys. And she had to travel for about 4 hours each time that she had a procedure, and she had 3 miscarriages, I believe, and 2 of which were failure artificial inseminations. So I know personally how troubling it can be on the financial side, because she didn't really like to talk about her feelings, which will come up later when we're talking about the effects. But I do know how hard that was on them financially. And while her and her husband both have very well-paying jobs, they just got that paid off. So one of the major causes of the stresses that artificial insemination puts on patients is the financial burden, not only from the treatments, but also from traveling and booking hotels and having to find pet sitters if that applies to someone, and having to take off work. Lack of insurance coverage is the next thing that I would like to touch on. There are so many insurance companies which determine artificial insemination procedures as electory. So they do not cover all or as much as they should for people to go get these procedures, even if they have diagnosed fertility issues, and that is a little bit selfish, which insurance companies tend to be. While I was doing research for this project early on, I read an article by a woman who was a doctor in the reproductive health field, which is what I want to go into. And she said that a lot of insurance companies tend to prey, her words, on typically healthy people who just so happen to struggle with fertility issues. So they will offer, some companies offer free gym memberships so that they get people who are in good health, and these people offer insurance coverage to those who have fertility issues and no other health issues, so that you are paying for that specific insurance and then only using it for fertility coverage. So there are a lot of issues that come with insurance, none of which are going to be solved anytime soon by anyone on my level, that's for sure. The mental and physical health of these people is also a major cause of why it is so hard to go through these procedures. Mentally, it is just so draining and so isolating, and physically it puts a lot of stress on one's body to go through this. Whether you are a male or a female, it puts physical stress on you to know that you cannot have your own biological child. That is such a heavy burden to carry in your heart every day, and to know that your significant other may not have fertility issues, and you get that feeling. I read this on many articles that I did during my research. People who are diagnosed with fertility issues get the feeling that they are holding their partner back, and it is such a sad thing when you just feel so isolated, even from your significant other. So, the effects of reproductive issues, depression and anxiety. It is a very high statistic, near 60% of people who go through fertility procedures after their second or third round, so that's if they have 1 or 2 failed procedures prior, they will report feelings of depression and anxiety and isolation, which are the effects that I really would like to focus on, because that isolation is just such a hard thing to deal with. And even people who have communities surrounding them, those who go to church or have people in their work life or friends or family, people just don't really understand if they haven't been through that. And I saw this firsthand with my aunt. She wanted to be able to get our support, and we wanted to be able to give it, but if you don't know what she's going through or what anyone with this condition is going through, then you just really can't give that support that they need. Which leads me to my solution. I believe that the best solution for patients who are seeking reproductive health care is to create an app for, like, a platform for people who have gone through similar diagnosis and treatments, for people to come together and support one another. The main issue, like I said, that people have is that feeling of isolation. So with this platform to be made, it would connect people with others who understand what they are going through, and it would give people an outlet to ask questions and gain much needed support, and just be like, hey, I'm feeling really down and I don't really understand what's going on with my body, with my healthcare, any of it. I just need some tips and some support. And those other people who have been there and gone through the same things can give that and offer that support that is much needed to people who are currently going through it. So it would be very simple to create. You just create an app or a platform, which anyone can do, and then advertise within fertility clinics. And after a certain amount of time, these people are doing so much research. Like I said, I have a family history of this. I know how much research goes into making sure that you know all that you can before you even start the process. So I'm sure that once this is a mainstream thing and people are starting to gain onto it, it will prosper on its own, because anybody, I hate to make assumptions, but I would assume that anybody who is going through reproductive health issues would be online researching and would eventually stumble across this app and then find it very helpful for their journey. So there are some concerns that I ran into when I ran this by some of my teachers to get some of their input at the high school. One of those was privacy concerns, because anyone can see what you put on the internet and they could be taking advantage of people for their money. So a part of this app that I'm proposing would be that if you are going through financial hardships with your reproductive journey, then others who you connect with could send you money, almost like GoFundMe, but not quite that specified on the monetary gain of things. But one of the issues with that would be that people could take advantage for this platform, say that they have these reproductive health issues, create this sob story, say that perhaps one of them has cancer, which is a very high, when people have reproductive health issues due to cancer, that is on GoFundMe when they tend to reach their goal amounts. So they could, exaggerate the truth a bit, and just to get money from these people who have already gone through their own financial struggles with their own fertility issues. So that is one concern. However, I think that would be very minimal. I'm not sure that there are very many people in the world who would take advantage of such a thing, and also that's not the main goal of this platform. It would be more of a way to connect people, and if it was going to become a monetary trading system, then it would be on individual basis. It would be like, say that somebody connected to somebody else and then they started privately messaging because they became almost like a mentor. And then there could be some monetary distribution, but it wouldn't be through the app, so I don't think that that would be something that people would need to worry about on a regular basis. And then also there were some concerns that negative comments could be made towards others because this is an internet platform. And when couples are already in such a vulnerable state, that could be very detrimental to them. And while I do know that many people have struggled with online hate and issues coming from people saying things that they probably shouldn't online, and that will never go away, and it may happen if this was to be a real thing, but most of the people in this app are going to understand what it's like to go through these hardships and to do the journey that comes with reproductive health care. And I just can't imagine somebody going out of their way to do ill or say ill things towards anybody else who's going through something like that. However, I would think that the community that this platform would build would self-regulate, and if somebody was saying negative things, that people would kind of rally behind the person who was being targeted and maybe even make them feel better in the end, because they know that they have such a wide group of people who are going to be there for them. So that is my final presentation. Thank you.